Hi, I'm Mia. I'm 28 and absolutely killing it in my marketing job, living what I thought was the dream with my husband Jake in our cozy suburban home. Life was good. Babe, can you help me move this couch? I want to make more space for Sophia. I called out to Jake one Saturday morning. Sure thing, hun. How's she holding up? Jake asked as he joined me in the living room. 8 months pregnant and cranky as hell, but I get it. Being kicked out of your place for renovations when you're about to pop isn't fun, I said, laughing. We started rearranging the furniture, trying to make our guest room more comfortable for my sister, who had been staying with us for a couple of weeks. Despite her hormone-fueled meltdowns, it was nice having her around. So about the baby shower, Jake started, lowering his voice. Walls have ears, remember? I whispered, glancing towards the stairs. But yeah, I've got most of it planned. You sure your dad won't spill the beans? Jake's face did that thing it always did when we talked about his father, a mix of love and frustration. Nah, he doesn't even know about it. Safer that way. I nodded, remembering the last time we tried to include Robert in a surprise. Subtlety wasn't exactly his strong suit. Speaking of your dad, I hesitated, unsure how to approach the subject. He's not coming over anytime soon, right? Jake raised an eyebrow. Not that I know of. Why? I shrugged, trying to play it cool. No reason, just, you know how he can be sometimes. Mia, come on, he's not that bad. Jake, the man interrogated our mailman last month because he thought the guy looked suspicious. He's just protective, that's all. Old habits die hard, Jake said, brushing it off. I bit my tongue, holding back a retort. Robert's paranoia had caused more than a few awkward moments since Jake and I got married, but I didn't want to start an argument. Anyway, I changed the subject. I was thinking we could set up the backyard for the shower. String some lights, maybe get one of those cute balloon arches. Jake's face lit up. That sounds great. Sophia will love it. As we continued planning, I couldn't shake the snagging feeling in the pit of my stomach. Robert's unpredictable nature always set me on edge, but I pushed the thought aside, focusing on making the baby shower perfect for my sister. Later, I was in the kitchen, putting the finishing touches on a batch of cupcakes for the shower, when the doorbell rang. Jake was out grabbing last-minute supplies, so I wiped my hands on my apron and headed to the door. Coming. I called out, wondering who it could be. When I opened the door, my heart dropped. There stood Robert, Jake's dad, with that stern look he always wore. Mia, he nodded, stepping past me into the house. Thought I'd surprise you kids. Jake around? I stumbled over my words, caught off guard. No, he's out running errands. We weren't expecting you, Robert. That's the point of a surprise, isn't it? He grunted, making himself comfortable on our couch. I forced a smile, my mind racing. Sophia was upstairs resting, and I had to keep Robert from finding out she was here. Can I get you something to drink? I offered, hoping to keep him occupied. Water's fine, he replied, his eyes scanning the room suspiciously. I hurried to the kitchen, but as I filled a glass with water, I heard movement upstairs. Sophia must be up. I rushed back, handing Robert the water, trying to distract him. So, Robert, how's retirement treating you? He took a sip, his eyes still darting around. Fine. Neighborhood's going to hell, though. Seen some sketchy characters lurking around lately. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. Classic Robert, always on high alert. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about, I said calmly. Suddenly, the back door creaked open. My heart raced. Sophia must have stepped outside for some air. Before I could react, Robert was on his feet. Did you hear that? He whispered, his body tense. It's probably just the wind, I said quickly, but Robert was already moving toward the backyard. Followed him, panic rising in my chest. Robert, wait. I called, but he was already at the back door, peering out. I saw his body stiffen as he spotted a figure in the yard, Sophia, in her flowing maternity dress, her back to us. Mia, stay back, Robert growled. Before I could stop him, he burst through the door. Everything happened so fast. Robert charged across the lawn, his years of police training kicking in. Sophia turned, her eyes wide with surprise and fear. Robert, no, I screamed, but it was too late. He tackled Sophia with full force, sending them both crashing to the ground. I heard Sophia cry out in pain as she hit the grass. Robert's weight crushing down on her pregnant belly. I ran towards them, my heart pounding. Get off her. I yelled, pulling at Robert's shoulders. He looked up at me, confusion replacing the determination on his face. Mia, what? It's Sophia, you idiot. I shoved him off my sister and knelt beside her. She was curled up on her side, tears streaming down her face, her hands clutching her stomach. Oh God, Sophia, are you okay? I asked, my voice shaking. She whimpered, her body trembling. I turned on Robert, fury overtaking my fear. What the hell is wrong with you? Robert stood there, his mouth agape, finally realizing what he'd done. I thought she was an intruder. I didn't know. Shut up, I snapped, turning back to Sophia. We need to get you to the hospital now. I helped Sophia to her feet, supporting her weight. Call an ambulance, I ordered, my voice cold. Robert nodded dumbly, pulling out his phone. As I looked at my sister's pain-stricken face, a mix of fear and rage boiled inside me. This was supposed to be a happy day, a celebration. Instead, thanks to Robert's reckless behavior, we were heading to the emergency room, praying that both Sophia and her baby would be okay. We burst through the emergency room doors, doctors and nurses swarming around us. She's 34 weeks pregnant, tackled to the ground, I explained, my voice distant and unfamiliar. They whisked Sophia away, leaving me standing there, feeling helpless and terrified. I paced the waiting room, my mind racing. Where was Jake? I had left him a frantic voicemail, but he hadn't called back yet. Suddenly, I heard a commotion at the entrance. It was Robert, trying to push his way past security. I'm family, he was shouting. Let me through. My fury, simmering beneath the surface, boiled over. I stormed over to him. I began, my voice shaking with anger. You have no right to be here. Look what you've done. Robert's face hardened. Now listen here, Mia. I was trying to protect. Protect? I laughed bitterly. You could have killed my sister and her baby. All because you can't control your paranoid impulses. I'm a trained officer, he started, but I cut him off. You're a menace. This isn't the first time your training has caused problems, is it? Robert's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of guilt crossing his face. Just then, Jake came running in, out of breath. Mia, what happened? Is Sophia okay? I turned to my husband, tears finally spilling over. Your father, I spat, tackled Sophia in our backyard. She's in emergency surgery right now. Jake's face went pale. He looked from me to his father, confusion and disbelief written all over his face. Dad, he asked weakly, is this true? Robert straightened, his jaw set. Son, I thought she was an intruder. I was trying to protect your home. Jake ran a hand through his hair, looking lost. But Sophia, how could you not recognize her? It all happened so fast, Robert muttered, not meeting Jake's eyes. A doctor approached us then, her face serious. Family of Sophia Davis. Yes, I said quickly, stepping forward. I'm her sister. How is she? The doctor took a deep breath. We had to perform an emergency C-section. The baby is premature but stable. Sophia lost a lot of blood, and there was internal damage from the incident. She's in recovery now, but she has a long road ahead of her. I felt my knees go weak with relief and residual fear. Jake caught me, holding me up. Can we see them? Jake asked. The doctor nodded. In a little while, I'll have a nurse come get you. As she walked away, I turned to Jake, my voice low and intense. What aren't you telling me about your father? Jake's eyes darted to Robert, who stood awkwardly to the side. Mia, this isn't the time. No, I insisted. I want to know. This isn't the first time he's done something like this, is it? Jake sighed heavily, defeat in his eyes. There have been incidents in the past. Nothing this serious. But what? I pressed. Jake sighed heavily. Dad's always had a bit of a hair trigger. There were a few complaints when he was on the force, and after he retired, well, there was an incident with a neighbor. And then, at my cousin's wedding. I stared at him in disbelief. And you never thought to tell me any of this. I didn't think it would ever be an issue, Jake said weakly. I'm so sorry, Mia. I should've. A nurse interrupted us. You can see Sophia and the baby now. As we followed her, I shot one last look at Robert. Stay away from my family, I warned. This isn't over. Entering Sophia's room, I felt a wave of emotion wash over me. Seeing her so pale, hooked up to machines, and her tiny daughter in the incubator nearby, I felt a new resolve harden within me. This would never happen again. The weeks following Sophia's emergency C-section were a whirlwind of hospital visits, legal consultations, and tense conversations with Jake. I was determined to press charges against Robert, despite Jake's initial reluctance. "Mia, please," Jake pleaded one night. "He's my father. Can't we just—" "Just what?" I snapped. "Pretend this never happened." "Your father could have killed Sophia and the baby. This isn't something we can sweep under the rug." Jake sighed. "I know. It's just he's family. Sophia's family too," I reminded him. "And she's the one lying in a hospital bed." Finally, Jake nodded. "You're right, we have to do this." The investigation into Robert's assault on Sophia uncovered a disturbing pattern of aggressive behavior. There were complaints from Robert's time on the force, incidents with neighbors, and even a restraining order from a former colleague. As the evidence piled up, I noticed a shift in Jake. He stood taller, spoke more firmly when we met with the prosecutor, and insisted on pursuing the case to the fullest extent of the law. At Robert's sentencing, he stood before the judge, looking smaller and older than I'd ever seen him. "Your Honor," the prosecutor began, "Mr. Thompson's actions demonstrate a clear pattern of aggressive behavior that poses a danger to society. We ask for the maximum sentence." Robert's lawyer argued for leniency, citing his age and years of service. But the judge wasn't swayed. "Mr. Thompson," the judge said sternly, "your background as a police officer makes your actions even more egregious. You, of all people, should know better." In the end, Robert was sentenced to 200 hours of community service and mandatory anger management classes. He avoided jail time, but the judge made it clear that any future incidents would result in severe consequences. As we left the courthouse, Jake turned to his father. "Dad, I think it's best if we don't see each other for a while. You need to get help." Robert opened his mouth to argue but stopped. For once, he seemed to understand the gravity of the situation. He nodded silently and walked away. 6 months later, our backyard was filled with laughter and the soft coos of a baby. We were finally having that baby shower for Sophia and little Emma, who had grown into a healthy, chubby-cheeked bundle of joy. "To new beginnings," Jake said, raising his glass in a toast. Sophia smiled, bouncing Emma on her knee. "And to family, the ones who stick by you, no matter what." I looked around at the faces of our friends and family, feeling warmth spread through my chest. We had been through hell, but we'd come out stronger. Just then, my phone buzzed with a news alert. I glanced at it and let out a low whistle. "What is it?" Jake asked. "Your dad," I said, showing him the screen. "Apparently he got into an altercation at his anger management class. He's facing serious charges this time." Jake shook his head, a mix of sadness and resignation on his face. "I guess some people never change." "But we did," I said, squeezing his hand. "We're better for it." Now that the story's over, let me ask you, if you were Jake, caught between your spouse and your parent in a situation like this, how would you handle it? Would you side with your partner immediately or try to defend your parent? And what if you knew about your parents' history of aggressive behavior? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone facing a similar dilemma. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. And for more stories about complex family dynamics and overcoming toxic relationships, subscribe to our channel. Your support helps bring these important stories to light.